Okay, hi everyone. We are so happy to have you on this webinar. Happy Friday to you all. This is Natalie from My Social Practice, and we are very excited to be presenting with SmileSnap today. Today we'll be talking about why new patients aren't calling you, social media marketing, and virtual consultations. Everyone on this webinar is on mute and will remain on mute for the webinar, but you can still ask questions or make comments in the chat or the Q&A features here on Zoom. We'll answer any and all of your questions in the last 10 or so minutes of the webinar. So feel free to ask any questions that come to mind, or feel free to make any comments there in the chat or Q&A features. We are very lucky to have two incredible experts presenting to us today. First, we have Blake Hadley, who is a founder and president of My Social Practice. Blake has won a number of national and international awards in art direction, advertising, and creative marketing strategy. He is passionate about helping dental practices use out-of-the-box thinking to create stories that spread on social media. Over the past 10 plus years at My Social Practice, he has spoken to dental audiences all over the country and has helped thousands of practices thrive on social media. And secondly, we have Brooke McIntyre from SmileSnap. Brooke has a passion for bringing more smiles to the world. She believes that the more we can connect the dental industry together through meaningful relationships and building partnerships instead of competitors, the more successful we can be as a whole. She has a myriad of positions in the dental world in everything from influential practices, disruptive technology, marketing agencies, and product companies. Brooke joined SmileSnap after seeing the incredible value the platform was bringing to both patients and to providers, and feels she has an obligation to our community to share the importance of patient-centric acquisition and care suited for today's modern patient. Brooke received her degree from Arizona State University with a scholarship as a Division I athlete for the women's soccer team. Brooke is married with one son and resides in the greater Phoenix area. So today's webinar is going to be awesome. I am very excited for all of us to learn from Blake and from Brooke about how you can use social media and virtual consultations to build trust, set expectations, and wow your patients before you even see them or talk to them face to face. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started with Blake.
All right. Thank you so much, Natalie, for that introduction. I am excited to be presenting with Brooke. My Social Practice and SmileSnap have been talking for a while, and we're excited about how our companies can really help dental practices, especially right now during this pandemic, reach out to new patients and help you get more patients into your practice and help more patients pick up the phone to call you. There are a lot of things that patients do before they pick up the phone and call you, and that's what we're going to discuss today. So I want to talk about the new patient journey. And I use this example. Many of you have maybe seen this show Wipeout on TV. And there's a number of obstacles in Wipeout, and there's a number of obstacles in the new patient journey. And these are the 4 obstacles that I see. There's the awareness obstacle, the online research obstacle, making the actual decision to come in your practice obstacle, and then actually scheduling the appointment. So is this what happens to most of your patients that try to go through these obstacles?
Come on! Great execution. All face plants. Yes. Don't believe it.
I love that perfect little dive at the end. But where are your patients, your new patients, being wiped out through these 4 processes of of learning about your practice and actually picking up the phone to call you. We're going to talk about each one of these. I'm actually going to talk about the awareness and online research phase and how that applies to social media marketing. And then Brooke is going to go over actually making the decision and scheduling the appointment and some of the things that are stopping people from actually making that decision and calling you and scheduling the appointment. And she's going to talk about it in the perspective from virtual consultations and how that can help in that process. So let's start first with the awareness phase. How can you get more new patients to actually find out about you and be aware of you? How can you reach these new patients? Well, they are most effectively reached online and through social media. This is where they are. They're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and Google. This is where they're spending their time. And then right now, during the pandemic, they found that 50% of US adults are using social media more since the COVID-19 pandemic began. So this is the perfect time to be marketing online and through these digital marketing tools, because this is where everybody is. They're spending time at home and on their social media accounts. 67% of people say they're more likely to purchase a product or service after a friend or family member shared it via social media. And 74% of consumers allow social media proof, which means what people are saying on social media, to influence their purchasing decisions. One of our clients said this: people see what their friends and family are doing and saying, and they're sold on our practice before they even come in, because they trust the referring sources. So you want to do that. You want to convince those new patients to trust your practice before they even come in. So this is word of mouth marketing. Word of mouth marketing has existed since the beginning of time. People talking over their back fence to their neighbor, recommending things and talking about different businesses. But social media marketing is just word of mouth marketing online. So I want to give you a few examples of how to create more awareness through social media. So my first tip is to be digitally shareable and top of mind on social media. And this is the example that I want to give with that. So Suzanne Pepper, she's looking for a orthodontist for her son. So she goes on Facebook and she posts this: need recommendation for a good orthodontist in Bossier for Braden. So when Facebook sees a post like this, that she's asking for recommendation, it actually changes the type of post that it is. So you can see at the top there, it says, is looking for recommendations. And then underneath the map there, it says recommendations. And then it puts a big map right underneath her post. So when people comment on this post, Facebook actually recognizes their comments a little bit differently. And it recognizes if they're trying to link to a business, and it pulls in a little link underneath their comment to that Facebook business page. So this first person here, Christine, she said, not in Bossier, but we like Dr. Lang. And she actually attached a screenshot, it looks like, of the Google listing for Lang Orthodontics. And then the next post, Carly Bowen, she said, Dr. Foster, they have office in Sharifport and Bossier. I haven't had braces in 10 years, but I still went for a checkup for TMJ and they are great. Now you can see underneath there, what's the link go to? Does it go to Dr. Foster's Facebook page? No, it goes to Sharifport, Louisiana. Now, this may have happened because Carly, when she tried to search Dr. Foster, when she started typing in Dr. Foster's page didn't show up. Maybe she named it the wrong way. Maybe it's actually not, maybe the name of the practice doesn't have the name Dr. Foster in it. But for whatever reason, his link wasn't shareable. It didn't show up as a shareable link. So instead, Facebook pulled in the city of Louisiana, the city of Sharifport. And so this is a problem, right? The practice was not easily shareable on social media for somebody to talk about them. And then this last post is the good example. Kirby just tagged Lang Orthodontics. You can see that the words Lang Orthodontics are blue, which means they're a link. And then it actually pulls in Lang Orthodontics Facebook page right underneath so that the person interested could just click on that and go directly to their page. So Dr. Lang and her husband's actually the office manager, Eric, he sent me an email after he saw this post. And he said, we see posts like these a lot. On this post, we were recommended 2 of the 6 comments. What are we doing right now? Nothing. We keep our fingers crossed and hope that people will recommend us enough that we get the call, wondering if you have any direction for us. So he said that he sees these type of posts all the time in his community where people are asking for orthodontists and he's recommended. But what do you think Dr. Lang should do in this case? And my suggestion was that he should comment on that post and say something like, "Thanks for recommending us, Kirby. Christine, we would love to have you visit our practice. Please let me know if we can answer any questions before scheduling an appointment." So it never hurts if you get a notification that somebody's talking about you. It never hurts for you to chime in and to just say, "Hey, we're here. We'd love to have you visit. Thanks for referring us." And I can guarantee that most of the other doctors that are being recommended in these type of posts are not chiming in. So this gives you a little bit of advantage over the other doctors that are recommended, and probably will up your chances of getting scheduled. Another tip to bring more awareness to your practice through social media is to be share worthy. Now, this is a post by Christina Davis, and she said, I can never say thank you enough to the amazing team at Davis Dental for giving me an amazing smile. Today was the last day of my treatment plan, and the results are life-changing for me." And I went to her profile, and you can tell that her results are life-changing. I put a line in the middle of posts that were made before her treatment, and you can see those on the bottom, and posts that are made after her treatment. And what can you tell? What's the difference? The post below, she's smiling, but with her mouth closed. And the post above, she's smiling, showing all of her teeth. This was truly a life-changing experience for her, and something that, if something is life-changing, people like to share that on social media. Every day as a dentist, you're doing life-changing things. And if you can help your patients want to share about that on social media and talk about your practice by tagging you and telling their friends about you, it will be a great advantage to your practice. So the first way to be share-worthy is just to do great dental work, and you're already doing that. The second way is to be charitable in your community. This is a post that was made by a doctor who donated some supplies to a local hospital during this pandemic. And you can see the number of comments and shares and likes that the doctor got. And one of the comments from Holly says, "Wow, this is really cool. He's my dentist and just got a lifetime of loyalty." One of the shares from this was another patient, Melody, where she said, "I know I chose the right dentist." And she's sharing this post with all of her friends. People like to do business with people that care and are giving and helping the community. And if you can do things like this, your patients will want to share about you because they feel proud that they're one of your patients. This is an example that I like to share about. A lot of you have seen these wings that are on murals all across the country. And what do people do when they see these wings? They go up to them, they stand in front of it so it looks like they have wings, and then they share those posts on social media. Why do they do that? Because it's fun, it's interesting, they think it kind of fits their brand of what they want to post on social media. So how can you apply this concept to what you do in your office? This is a doctor we work with, Dr. McMahon, and she puts these murals inside of her treatment areas and waiting rooms, these paintings. And when people take their after photos, do they want to take a photo with the dental chair behind them? No, they like to go in front of these beautiful paintings. You know, this one kind of looks like the bird is sitting on her head. Here's another one they put in their waiting area. And they make sure to clear out all the furniture in front of the painting so that people can stand in front of them and take their pictures. So people are more likely to post a photo like this than one of just a white wall and behind them or a dental chair. Here's another example of someone that posted about a massage chair that was in the dental practice. And Lisa said, "Jacob's dentist has a nicer massage chair than mine. This one squeezes the temples and gets the neck good too. The staff here are all very nice too. They see kids and adults." So she starts off by talking about the massage chair, but then she talks about the dental practice. And you can see all the comments that she gets on this post, people starting to talk about the dentist. So initially, Lisa didn't just want to say, "Hey, this is my dentist, go check him out." Instead, she started with the massage chair, something that was interesting to her, and then led into the dental practice. In our clients' practices, we put these photo booths in there in their waiting room area. And it's just an iPad that's on a stand. And the app that we provide our clients has a photo booth app that they can take photos, put little stickers on it. They can hold some of our fun signs that we provide our practices. The app brands the photo with their logo on it, and then the patient can share that on their social media accounts. And again, this is just a fun excuse to create an interesting, fun image that patients can post. My next tip to create awareness is to ask and incentivize your patients to do that. If you don't have a plan in place to ask patients to leave you a review on social media or on Google, it's so important that you train your team to do that. A simple question just like, hey, Carl, would you mind sharing your experience today? To a patient that has been with you for a long time and you know will give you a great review and be happy to do anything for you. You just have to fit that into your day. And I know it's hard, you have a lot to do, but if you can put that process in place. We have an app that allows you to ask that question and then send a quick text message to the patient where they can click on the link and just, it has a few different options of where they can leave a review and they can quickly leave you a review. You can't incentivize people to leave you a review on Google. That's kind of against Google's guidelines, but you can incentivize them to share about you on social media. And this is an example of just a practice that puts little gift baskets in their waiting room area. And they say, if you want to enter to win this gift basket, just share about us, tag us in a post on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll enter your name to win this gift basket. Everybody loves little incentives and they work. Tally Kest, one of our clients from the Smile Spot, said, don't be afraid to ask people to participate. It's all right if occasionally someone says no. You'll be surprised to find that most people enjoy being involved. Another tip to create more awareness is to enlist social media influencers. Many of you have maybe heard what a social media influencer is, but basically what it is, it's someone in your community or someone on Instagram or Facebook who has created a following for themselves. So this is an example. This is Motivation Mindy. She has almost 16,000 followers, and she posts about fitness and health and her family. And she's just created a following of her own through some of her posts. And it probably started with her immediate friends, and then from there just kind of grew into her community and outside of her community. So what you can do as a dental practice is you can, if this is one of your patients, find out first if one of your patients is an influencer. If not, if it's just someone that people know in your community that has a following, you can make a deal with one of these influencers to maybe come in for a free teeth whitening or a discount on one of your services. And then as they're part of this deal, they'll post on social media and tag your practice. So you can see here, she got her teeth whitened for free, tagged the practice, showed the whitening product, and then tagged the practice as well in her caption. This was actually in conjunction with a charitable campaign as well called Smiles for Life that she did this. But the idea is the same, is that they can come in, get the treatment for free or for a discount, and then post about your practice. This is another influencer that we worked with. We actually set up with one of our clients, Anna Escona, and she has almost 18,000 followers, and she posts about fashion. And she went into one of our practices, one of our clients' practice, and she offered this little discount. She said, as a special gift to my followers, they have agreed to give those who are interested a discount off the same whitening treatment that she got. Just send them a DM, mention my name in this post, or this post. If you mention I sent you, you'll also receive an at-home whitening trays for free. It gets better. To kick off 2020 for new patient checkoff, they're running a special for $79. So the influencer is telling her audience and her followers about you, not you telling your trying to get the word out. She's getting the word out and people trust her. So as a result of these posts that were made, the practice got 5 new patients. They got a 40% increase to their followers because she tagged the practice in all of her posts. There was 834 combined likes on all of her posts and over 15,000 views on all of her posts. So if you think about that, if she just got a free whitening, those results, marketing results, are huge for you. To get 5 new patients from just giving someone a free whitening can be a huge benefit to your practice. My next tip is pay to play. Okay, on social media now, Facebook and Instagram, they're in the money business. They need to make money, and so things have changed since 2014. This is just an example to show how organic Facebook reach has changed. So back in 2014, when you post something on your Facebook business page, about 40% of your followers would see your post. Then in 2015, about 35% of your followers would see the post. 2016, it went down to 6% of your followers. And in 2017, it went to 1%. And now in 2020, it's less than 1%. So when you post something on Facebook, less than 1% of your followers will initially see that post. Let me show you a little bit of how this works. So if you post something like this, that's kind of a boring, maybe inconsistent post, and you post that out, that small percentage will see your post of your followers. And if nobody comments, likes, or shares that post, it will stop right there. So every time you post something like this, it's just going to go to a few people and then stop. And so you'll just keep getting, every time you post, you won't see any results. If you post a variety of different content and they're engaging, then more people will like, comment, and share from that small amount of people. And then Facebook will look at that and say, this is relevant content, and we're going to show more people this content because we can tell people like it. So we'll show a little bit more of your followers that post. And then this is where it starts spreading out into your community. So as more people share, more people in your community will see the post. And this is kind of where things can go viral if you have really good content. Now, one way to guarantee people in your community and your followers will see your posts is if you put a little bit of money into each post. So you can put $3 to $5 into each post. And then from there, if people start liking, commenting, and sharing it, you can put a little bit more money into it if you can tell that it's good content that people like. So let me just show you an example of this. So this is Live Oak Dental. They did a little giveaway for some football tickets when we used to be able to go to football games. So they did a little giveaway, and this is the results they got from it. They got 29 likes, 18 shares, 14 comments, and they had people in the comments tagging other people. So that was a great way to reach new people. But they didn't boost it at all, and this was just organic reach. It was just good content that they were posting. So then they put $20 into this post and boosted it. And you can see the results from just $20. They got 89 people like it, 48 people to share it, and 46 comments from this $20. Just to show you kind of how they boosted it. So when you click that boost post button that's shown on the left, it will give you some options. You can choose who sees it, the age range, and then you can see the geographic area that you want to boost to. So you can see they boosted to Wilmington, North Carolina in a 25-mile radius. And then you can also choose some interests of who you want to boost it to. So they added the interest of the college that was playing in the football game. And then they also added the Carolina Panthers, which is the pro football team in that area, because they figured if they like the Carolina Panthers, they might like football at the college level as well. And so those were some of the interests that they chose as well. So it gives you a few options of who you can boost to, but we would definitely recommend that you put a little bit of money into your posts to get more reach. All right, so that's the awareness phase. Those are some tips that you can use for social media. I want to move now to the online research phase. What are people doing online to find more about you? And what can you digitally provide to new patients that are looking for a dentist? This is a quote by Dr. Brian Brenner in Seattle. He said, "The greatest benefit of social media for our practice has been the influx of new patients. When potential new patients are looking for a dentist, they compile as much information as they can to make an informed decision." So I want to take you through a little patient journey of mine. This actually happened to me a couple weeks ago. And I received this direct mail piece in the mail. And I want to show you how everything, all marketing, all dental marketing eventually goes digital, and the process that it takes to go digital. So I got this in the mail. I've been looking for a dentist, so I thought this was an interesting little offer. I could get a $50 gift card while finding a new dentist. The first question that went through my head was, where is this practice? I turned it over, I saw a map, I saw that it was close to my house, Next question went through my head was, will I have a good experience there? So I couldn't tell from this postcard if I really would have a good experience there. So this is what then took me online. And I saw they had a website, so I went online to their website. The first tab that I went to was the Our Team tab. I wanted to see who was in the practice. I wanted to learn about the doctor and who he was. And I thought, they seem professional. They all, good bios. They all seem really happy and nice. But then I wanted to know, what are they really like? They look great, they look nice, but what are they really like? And I saw they had social media account links in the bottom of their page. So this is the best place to find out what someone's really like. So I click on the social media accounts. I went to their Facebook page. The first thing I wanted to know is if any of my friends liked their page. I want to know if I could turn to one of my friends and ask them some questions about the practice. So I saw that one of my friends did like their page, and that was good. That brought a little bit of trust. The next thing I saw was a video at the top of the page where the doctor was talking to his patients or to his audience. And I clicked on that video and it was great. He kind of took it wasn't super professionally made, but it was real sincere and honest. And he took a tour around his office. He introduced some of his team members. And I thought, they seem like nice people that I can trust. I liked this video. It helped me get a better feel of what the practice would be like. But then I wanted to know, well, do other people like them? How are other people's experiences? So the way I could find that out was by going to their reviews. So I clicked on the reviews tab on their Facebook page, and I saw they had 5 out of 5 reviews. 41 people have left 5 out of 5 reviews, like perfect reviews. And I thought, this is kind of funny to say, but I thought, wow, this seems a little too good. Is this rigged? Did they pay these people to leave them perfect reviews? This seems a little too good to me. And I thought, let's see if I can find out some honest feedback, some dirt on this practice. So what did I do to find out that? I went to Google and I searched their practice, and these were the top results. And I think this is interesting to look at. The first result was their website, but then Facebook, Yelp, and LinkedIn came up as 3 other results. And I thought this is so important for you to look at to see how Google is ranking social media sites. So people can find out more about your practice on Facebook. So how important is it to make sure that you have good content and that your Facebook page is being taken care of, or even your LinkedIn page? But I wanted to find out the reviews on Google, so I went and clicked on the reviews. And they had 4.8 average, 237 reviews, which is awesome. But what did I do? I went to the top, I said sort by lowest rating. And I saw they did have some negative ratings. But the thing that I saw the best is that they responded to these negative reviews. And that's really important. People read those responses, and most of the time they'll give you the benefit of the doubt if you don't have too many negative reviews. So I read some negative reviews, read the responses. I thought, that's okay. They seem to have thoughtful and caring responses. Everybody has a bad day once in a while. And so I was ready. I was ready to connect with this practice at that point, this journey that I'd taken digitally. But then a question came into my mind: how much is this going to cost? Right? And then there may have been some other questions that I had and I wanted to find out about, that I couldn't find online. So what's my only option in this case? If I don't find any answers on cost or whatever it might be, there's really one last option. That's to pick up the phone and call the practice. And I thought, no, not the phone. Do I seriously have to call them to find out these questions? And I know this sounds kind of silly, but it is how things are these days. I saw this comic the other day that says, it's 2 friends talking. One says, give him a call. And he says, I've emailed. And he says, be quick to call. He says, I texted them as well. Just call them. And he says, I'll send them another email. That's kind of how things are these days. People kind of are scared of the phone and they want to just be able to connect with businesses and people digitally. So that's my last tip that I want to talk about, is how to be digitally available for questions and concerns, and answer some of these questions on your social media accounts and digital tools before they even have to pick up the phone and call you. So I want to focus on 4 platforms and just give you a couple little tips on each platform to how to be digitally available. The first platform is Facebook. Make sure your call to action at the top of your Facebook page is correct, is something that you want. By default, it puts call now, which is fine if you want to get phone calls, but you might want to change it up. Maybe put, these are the different options that you can put. You can have them send you a message, send you an email. You can have them go to your contact page. So if you're not getting many calls from Facebook, you might want to switch that up and see if people start sending you messages instead of calling you. Something cool you can do with Facebook Messenger is, if you're familiar with what a chat bot is, in the bottom right-hand corner, when people go to your Facebook page, it will bring up a little pop-up that will ask some frequently asked questions. And if they click on those, you can actually respond with a pre-recorded video, or you can put in a response, just an automated response to answer those questions. And I love these pre-recorded videos because it kind of gives that little personal touch. So in order to do that, if you go to your Facebook inbox and go down to automated responses, it will give you a few options. You can change an instant reply. So whenever anybody writes you a message, it will respond with instant reply. You can have an away message. So if someone tries to contact you after hours, you can have a different type of message during these off hours. Or you can do the frequently asked questions. So you can write the frequently asked questions in there and then pre-record the responses, or put the responses in there to automate to send back to the practice. So I would encourage you to try that out. On Instagram, the way people will try to contact you is through DMs, they call them, or direct messages. And when people click direct message, it will go, you'll get a notification that says you have a direct message, and then you can respond to that. One thing a lot of our practices like to do is connect their Facebook and their Instagram messages together. So if you go to your Facebook inbox and go down to Instagram Direct, you can connect your direct messages from Instagram and Facebook all into one place, and that makes it easy for practices to manage. Something else you might want to consider is using Facebook Creator Studio. If you just search Facebook Creator Studio, this is a cool place to manage messages. You can actually post to Instagram from this desktop version. You can post to your stories, you can post to your Instagram Live. And a lot of people don't know about this, but this is something you might want to check out to manage your accounts as well. Google My Business. Google My Business is actually rolling out a messages option for your listing as well. So when people search you'll see a little message button underneath your Google My Business page on the right-hand corner there. So Google My Business is such an important platform. A lot of times this is where people find out about you before they even go to your website. And sometimes people don't even go to your website. So to give someone an option to send you a message here is a really great option. If you go into your back end of your Google My Business admin settings, you'll see messages here on the left, and then on your phone, if you have the app, you can see messages there too, and you can turn that on, and so people can start sending you messages through Google My Business. And last, your website. Make sure you have your contact information up high, of course. Make sure you have your contact page filled out and that someone is getting those emails every time someone fills out your contact page. Make sure you integrate with your social media. So link your website to your social media account so that people can comment and send you messages through social media. And then last, you want to add a virtual consultation option to your website. And this is something that Brooke's going to talk to you about how you can do that and why this is such a great part of what you can add to your website for digital messaging. So at My Social Practice, I know this is a lot that I've covered and it can be overwhelming. You have a lot to do, a lot on your plate already, but we assign all of our clients a social media manager to take care of all of this really for you. We can respond to your messages and your comments, and then we can provide you with all the content, all the ideas that you can post to reach new people. So we would love to work with you at My Social Practice. We do a lot more than just social media marketing. We help with websites, SEO, we help you get more Google reviews, whatever it might be for your digital marketing strategy, we would love to help you. So please reach out if you'd like to learn more, go to our website. We're also offering a free download right now during this pandemic of how to help get you through this pandemic as far as marketing goes, and some different phases that you can use and some different ideas. If you go to info.mysocialpractice.com/worksheet, you can download this worksheet for free. This has been really helpful for a lot of practices right now. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can email me, go to our website, or call us. We would be happy to help. All right, thanks. That's all I have. And let me stop sharing my screen here. And we will turn this over to Brooke.
Thanks so much, Blake. That was awesome. I know, especially coming from being in the practice, about, with social media and just your online digital presence, it's always so hard to decide which lane you want to drive in. And, I've always been under the idea that, you want to incrementally be building what you're doing online over time and really make sure that those processes are fitting. But what I love about you guys is that you already have that expertise. You're able to sort of, coach on where to put your time, because it's changing so fast. It's always hard to keep up of what, where are you supposed to be today? Is it YouTube? Is it Instagram, Facebook? What is it? So thank you.
No,
awesome.
It's always changing, always updating, for sure.
And you, it was fun to sort of listen to what you were talking about in terms of just what stages of a buyer's journey, because I think a lot of times we tend to overlook a lot of those steps. And the weird thing is that we do them every day, and yet we still kind of like forget that that's what exactly patients are going through as well. And so hopefully, we can answer a couple of those questions along the way and kind of get some clarity around that as well. And, thank you to everybody for being here today. And I'm really excited to sort of share with you what exactly the power of virtual consultations can bring you. And I really hope that I can actually, create a vision for you to actually have this be a major part of your practice and, see the same benefits that we do. We're going to talk about what virtual consultations are, but also, why they're so important in dentistry. And at Smiles Now, we very firmly believe that virtual consultations help practices engage with more new patient leads. They also help you pre-qualify, and we'll kind of talk about what that means, and increase your conversion rate, and also help you to reduce doctor share time, which is incredibly valuable these days. So even more so than it was before. So before I show you how it works, I really want to talk about sort of the why it works. And I love starting with this slide because I've been a culprit of this image more times than I should probably admit. It's really not a mystery. The world lives online. The statistics are a bit alarming. I think, one of the ones that really stood out to me was the average user will tap, swipe, click their phone more than 2,600 times a day. I'm sure I've probably done it more than that at a time or two. Even scarier, 40% or 47% of US smartphone users say they can't live without their devices, meaning they will die if they don't have them. So that's another indicator that, this is something that we can all agree on, that, the world of online living is here and it's real. Now, I'm incredibly passionate about just better understanding patient behavior and patient experiences, but even more so, I'm passionate about the non-patient experience. So meaning for those that for whatever reason are not engaging in dental care, even though we see that CDC statistics tell us there's 1 in 4 Americans that have untreated tooth decay. More disturbing, you have a statistic that you probably have heard before, but more people in this world actually own a cell phone than own a toothbrush. But the question is why? When you hear the two stats, they don't really make sense. According to the CDC, there's this gigantic segment of patients that need dental care, but they're not getting it done. And the question is sort of, why is that? I strongly believe the reason is this. The way the dental world has been taught to acquire new patients is perfectly designed for a world that's going extinct. Blake shows the picture of the phone is like, hey, this is our only option to call. And my dad, he practiced for 48 years. And this probably tells you how old he is he always says, I remember when it was considered highly unethical to even have your name in bold in the phone book. So, dentists and doctors are trained to be a clinician first and a business person second. It's not a bad thing. It's just simply that, we've been conditioned to believe that, this is not a priority of the practice and that they come to us. Now, we face the challenge of getting our industry up to speed with some, other, where we're online with other industries. And it's not outside of the realm of possibility. The reality is we need to just simply create customer experiences that create demand for our products. And the first step is to understand that the way potential patients, or you can call them consumers, the way they engage with service providers, it's more in line with the expectations that you and I have about other, conveniences in our lives. So full disclosure, I am a millennial. I shop like a millennial. I bought my car online. I always tell people that. I didn't talk to a single person when I did it. But we can't just assume that, because the millennial buyer is this certain construct, that it doesn't extend beyond just, beyond my age group. The reality is that everyone expects the same experience now that a millennial does. And the worst part about our expectations now is that they're always changing, and we're always wanting to find, better ways to do things and better ways to interact with the brands that we love. And, say what you will about Jeff Bezos and Amazon, but I guarantee you that the majority of us use Amazon for the same reasons we just discussed. He had this letter to his shareholders back a few years ago, and he tagged this term for consumers called divinely discontent. And he ended the whole sort of statement, and he said, "You cannot rest on your laurels in this world. Customers will not have it." And who are these people? Our patients are starting to demand the same of us, but who are they? Where are they? The answer is that, it's actually all of us. So if we actually look at, ourselves and how we enjoy buying and how we enjoy interacting with brands, we're gonna actually, learn a lot in the process, because we are all those divinely discontent customers. We demand new levels of freedom at every opportunity. And it's really amazing that what our demands have taken to in this world. And you look at those common brands, I mean, they stand out every time, you hear about what is the best customer experience. These are the ones that pop up. So, we've always been impatient, but over the last 5 years, we've been trained to believe that we don't have to wait anymore. You saw the busted up Blockbuster sign in that previous slide. Why did my favorite 6th grade Friday night trip to Blockbuster get canceled? It's because I found something more convenient. So, don't want to wait 60 days to sell your home, sell it on Opendoor right now. So this is why the growing in the age of freedom has become such a challenge. Direct to consumer brands figured it out, and now dentistry is a little bit late to the game. And if our community, unfortunately, maintains the status quo, we're going to continue to lose opportunities to help those in need of our services more and more. So why isn't dentistry changing faster? Of course, we can argue that these companies I just named, they're gigantic, they have huge budgets, they have access to this amazing tech, but this doesn't mean that there aren't solutions out there to help get across to more people that need our help. And, it begs the question is, why is it that we're not changing even faster if we know that this is the blueprint for what, customers want? Why haven't we figured out that sort of secret sauce? So I've worked in practices in pretty much every role available. I know the hurdles of change, and I get that going from where, a practice is now to attempting to be the, Netflix of dentistry. I don't know if that is even possible, but, but just doing what is practically possible now, even that is just a really hard pill to swallow because of, the amount of time, process, and attention that it takes to implement things. But the interesting thing is that, you look at this framework and it's the exact same thing that a patient has. So a doctor typically, or a practice, will say, if they won't make time for something that they don't see a process for, and therefore they will not put attention to trigger an action. So what that means is, if I can't get your attention and give you a convincing reason in a place where you're comfortable, you're never going to make time to implement that process. So again, this is the same thing that we have with patients. So doctors, you have the exact same issues that your patients have. Now let's talk a little bit about creating the path, because I think that when you understand a process, it's a lot easier to, one, make the time, and two, to make the attention span go to those places because you see that path to success. Sales funnels are very common practice. Blake had the wipeout scenario, which I actually really like. That was awesome. but you know, this is basically like one of those things that's used in corporations, you know, around the world, is, you know, the sales and marketing funnel, very common practice. And this is just a visual way to showcase the different steps that a person has to take to go from being that random person on the internet to somebody who's purchasing, you know, your product or services. And it looks like a funnel because the goal is to attract as many people as possible through your marketing efforts, which Blake spoke about in great detail. But as they continue to go down the pipeline and they get filtered out, you know, it's either because, you know, they aren't interested, or your product or your service wasn't the right fit at the time. You know, there's a lot of different steps that are taken in order to really facilitate that buyer's journey. Now, awareness is, you know, the one that that Blake did such a great job of describing, and you know, it is the largest part of the funnel in each of these stages. And you can't buy something if you don't know it exists. Not yet, anyway. We'll see if Amazon figures that one out by next year. But this is where marketing comes in. You know, this is where companies like My Social Practice help in the sales and marketing process to help you generate interest in your practice and know exactly where to go that's going to get you the biggest, you know, the biggest bang for your buck. And this isn't a commodity, or this isn't a luxury for practices anymore. This is a survival tool. And, you know, this is something that if you have not put a lot of attention to it, you're really missing opportunities to serve more of your community, and you're not giving your practice the full potential that it has. Blake spoke a lot about most of these things, so I'm not going to go into much detail there, but I also want to talk a little bit more about the decision phase. This is down at the very bottom. So this is where you're taking a potential patient and hopefully converting them into an active patient. So you'll typically find this part of the process is where, you know, typically you're meeting with either a treatment coordinator, you're meeting with the doctor, the patient is ready to make a buying decision. But what's in the middle? You know, the middle is where I really want to take the majority of our time to focus. There's this giant void between marketing efforts and converting patients where we tend to start seeing gaps in the process. And the gaps here are typically evident. You know, there are a lot of times I'll hear practices, especially ones that are just starting to do digital marketing. Digital marketing doesn't work. Online patients are no good. They don't no-show. But, you know, there's a myriad of excuses of why we, you know, in this effort to get more patients in the door, they aren't ending up starting treatment at the bottom. What's usually happening though is that you're actually sending them straight to the bottom of your funnel, and they simply weren't ready to commit their time. They didn't see the process that it took to get there, and therefore it didn't grab their attention. So, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, you really have to identify that there are additional steps in this process, because we have been now trained by other brands to have to engage on different levels in different spaces. And we need to actually go through and change how we think about our practices. And possibly the best mindset shift that you can take is truly focus on the patient journey and see if it's in line with what you appreciate most about the brands that you interact with. I'd be willing to bet that the online experience is an important one to you. So this means that you need to really be wired the same way to meet patients where they already are comfortable, which is online. And, you know, this doesn't mean that, you know, your in-office experience goes away. This doesn't mean, you know, and as we talk more about what virtual consults are, you know, I think the assumption is, oh, I have to offer this instead of this. And, you know, it's actually quite the opposite. You know, the goal is really to create, you know, this synergy between the two and, you know, enhance what you already have in your fabulous in-office experience, and then help patients to see the benefits of committing their time to oral health care specifically with you in a place where they're already comfortable. So the goal really is to create just that one unified experience that no matter how your patient is interacting with your practice, they're getting the absolute best of both worlds. So, you know, this is really why I believe so much in the power of virtual consultation, because, you know, first off, I'm that buyer that's not going to pick up the phone and call you. I'm that person that is going to do exactly what Blake laid out right there. And it was actually like a fabulous representation. And I'm not some like young, yeah, well, you can argue my intelligence, but I'm not some young person who's just like making decisions on a whim. I'm doing things with intention. It's just, I'm not buying if it's not something that's been made easy for me. And, virtual consultations are still relatively a new concept in dentistry, but the benefits are really substantial. And, by allowing patients to engage at a higher level with you with minimal time commitment in a place where they're already comfortable, you're not just giving them what they want, but you also get to consider the benefits of what you're getting in the practice. So, you're gaining another level of efficiency and time savings, which is huge, especially with being so busy as practices are now, and being backlogged with patients, trying to continue to see new patients and see your current patients. So another benefit practices gain, is really having the ability to have these patients have their typical objections to starting treatment already answered before they even step foot in the practice. And, my favorite topics to include in virtual consults, although, you can build your process and your plan however you want. I want to make sure that all of the people that would be coming into my practice have those answers already off the table, because that means if they're still showing up, the likelihood of conversion is going to go up. And in turn, the amount of time it's going to take for me to convert them physically is going to go down as well. The big thing too that I think gets, that we don't like talking about, but it's one of those common realities, is that there's this lack of trust in dentistry or fear of dentistry, and there's a big opportunity really to humanize yourself and show that you actually are able to care for your patients on another level than what they are assuming. So if you're able to build that trust before they walk into the practice, and build that comfortability, the likelihood is that more of them will actually show up. And think about this scenario of, if I have a patient who's walking into my practice for the very first time, they already know, ideally, roughly, what the cost is. They already are aware of on average, what the treatment options are, and they've interacted with you or your team at some degree, and they're still walking in. This is a dentist's dream, because, all of these things that give you headaches when you're sitting in that new patient exam chair, trying to get them to start treatment, are already answered. So in theory, it should reduce your chair time significantly. A lot of the practices that we've seen be very successful have said, I've been able to cut my new patient exams in half, the time in half, which means I can see twice as many. And on top of it, the conversion rate is going up because they already understand what they're getting. Now, the big question is, why do I like SmileSnap so much? I've loved SmileSnap before I started working here, but I had clients that were using it, and I saw these just incredible benefits of how they could better accommodate their time and their patients' time. And in order to do that, it takes a couple of different components. You look at user experience, and I told you at the beginning that I'm very passionate about the non-patient experience, because when I went through, again, going through buying my car, I really wanted to find a reason to make it to where I couldn't buy it or make a roadblock so that I didn't have to make that purchase, but they just made it too dang easy. So, the big thing is when you have that virtual consultation software, it is really important to make sure that the user journey as a patient is really easy. And it's also really nice that SmileSnap happens to be easy and simple to use on the practice side as well. The other feature that I really think is important is the customization. SmileSnap sits on your own website, so it allows you to create your own really customized journey of how you want to engage with your patients and how you want to inform them about what's available in your practice. The third one is I happen to work with a lot of really cool people that are experts at what they do. So, one of the biggest things that I know is that time is so sensitive right now. It doesn't matter who you are, but especially, dental practices that are just trying to figure out how to make everything work. This is one of those tools that it's going to help you regain back some time. And so it's really important that you have some sort of feature that allows you to do that so that you can continue to see your backlog patients and still continue that patient acquisition side. So our expert team is really there to help make that process and make that step from I know I should do this to I'm doing this as easy as possible, and to give you the guidance that you really need, which I think is just really, really key to getting things up and moving, especially coming from being in practice. And, you know, I don't ever want to be that person that's not excited about something new, but you want to see the clarity and know exactly what the process is to be able to do it. And, you know, SmileSnap, basically the how-to, there's 4 steps. The patient visits your website. So if you actually go to the SmileSnap website, you can go and see our demo page of what it looks like and try it out. But, you know, you get greeted by the SmileSnap widget, which pops up. Patient answers a few basic questions. They're all customizable to what you want them to answer. And then they take a few photographs of their teeth. And then you can respond in a myriad of different ways through autoresponder text. You can do live video, you can do recorded video, you know, you can do auto text messages, auto emails. So there's a lot of different ways that you can customize that journey and make it something that's really personal, and also, you know, showcasing the best parts of your practice before the patient walks in. And with those automated processes, you're also gaining back time on the administrational end as well, which is so important. And I want to leave you by going back with this, because don't forget, you know, your patients have the exact same problem as you do. I can't expect a doctor to make time to integrate something like SmileSnap or invest the time in something like a social media strategy if you don't understand the process or the why. And it's the same with patients. If they don't understand the process or the why, or you know, have that information before they go to do a physical action, they're going to turn their attention elsewhere. And it's not even to a competitor. It's to Target, it's to Amazon, it's to other commodities. So, you know, it's important to make sure that we're really showcasing that, you know, there is a need for increased oral health care, and there is a need to do that. But we have to do it in a way that's going to help patients really bridge that gap, and to help providers be able to connect at a higher level in a place where there's comfortability. And I really, really strongly believe that we can really showcase the best of what dentistry can bring by doing this. So, you know, I hope this was helpful, and thank you guys so much for your time. You know, you can actually sign up today. We have a promo going for today for this webinar that will give you free expert onboarding, which usually comes at a pretty nice cost. So if you think you're ready to do this, you know, go ahead and you can sign up today. Or if you have any questions, you know, regarding anything from virtual consultations or bridging the gap between what you're already doing, feel free to email me anytime. I would love to have a conversation. And thank you guys so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Brooke. Thank you to Brooke and for Blake for presenting today. That was awesome. A lot of great takeaways for our listeners. We do have just a couple of questions here at the end. I've got one for Blake here. If you're ready, Blake.
Yeah, ready.
Awesome. Okay. One of our listeners wants to know, how important is their dental website compared to their social media pages?
You know, they're both equally important in their own aspect, in their own way. I think so. It's kind of like I explained. Websites are more static. It's kind of like your brand, right? And I think it's your home base where people, when they want to find out information about you and you know, kind of the professional look of your practice, they'll go to your website to find out where you are, what services you provide, how to connect with you in different ways, right? So it's important to have a very professional, up-to-date website. You can't live without a website. You have to have a website if you're a business. Social media is more of that updated, real content where people can really find out who you are and the culture of your practice and the personalities in your office, and kind of dive down more into the videos and learn more about you. So they're equally important in different ways.
Awesome. Thank you, Blake. Okay, Brooke, I have one for you. So one of our listeners says, I have 4 locations. How are other doctors implementing SmileSnap? How long is it taking to get up and running, and who is usually managing it?
That's a great question. And I look at multi-location practices as this is like one of those essential pieces because, you know, you're managing so many different moving pieces. So to be able to have a place online where it's in one space, to be able to manage a lot of that, you know, piece where you're getting those inquiries and trying to get them into the chair is really helpful. You know, typically what we do is, you know, you can actually go online to smilesnap.com and sign up right away and register and create your own account and, you know, start customizing different things. It's meant to be very easy. But typically what we'll do is we actually have sort of an onboarding process that allows us to help you with those customization features and then really say, hey, let's map out a process that's going to fit what your practice is really valuing most and what, you know, what is differentiating you from others and how can you showcase the information that's going to help your patients make a decision. So, you know, that process can be done in as little, I mean, you can have SmileSnap up and running on your website within, you know, 2 hours if you have your web guy ready and able to go. I bet Blake could get it up in less than that though. But you know, it's one of those things where it's not up for a lack of speed. It's purely, we want to make sure that, you know, you have those pieces that are ready to go and that you feel confident in delivering it. And I think, you know, we like to start simple and continue to build on simple, you know, the same way we were talking about how to sort of put together social media is, you know, get with somebody who's going to tell you, hey, start here and continue to build here, and or the same way.
Awesome. Thanks, Brooke. I think we are out of time. Thank you to everyone for joining us. This has been awesome. Thank you to Brooke and Blake for presenting. If you have any further questions about SmileSnap or My Social Practice, check out smilesnap.com, mysocialpractice.com. We have also recorded this webinar and we'll send it to your email to rewatch. So please check for that. If you want to go ahead and rewatch this or ask more questions, email us, visit our websites. Thank you for joining us. We hope you all have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Guys.